This is Talib Kareem with STEM for Us, and I am really excited about today's Cyber Ed podcast. We have another terrific guest with us, another leader in the cyber field, and we're really excited about talking with him because he's going to be one of the coaches that are set to gather with our young, brilliant middle school and high school boys from across the country with the STEM for Us and Kappa Summer Youth Cyber Conference. During the conference, we have a exciting program that ends to tackle some of this horrific violence going on in our neighborhood, and that is a hackathon to come up with great ideas to end this violence that is really ravaging our community. So, what do we want you to do right now? Well, you probably remember. We want you to do, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to this podcast channel so you can get updates as we go forward. And you can get your questions answered if you drop a question and don't get it answered during the event. You can also get reminders about any upcoming events that we broadcast. Second of all, like the conversation, and of course, don't hesitate to put your questions into the box, and we look forward to that's the comment box, and we look forward to answering them. So we are going to now bring on our special guest, and that is Charles Orby. Charles, how are you doing, sir?
Very well, thank you, Brother Talib.
Excellent. Now, where are you broadcasting from, and where are you based right now?
I'm in the great state of the Tar Heels, North Carolina.
Great state of the Tar Heels, North Carolina. And let me ask Charles if you can just adjust your camera, because I see part of your face, but I don't see the other part of the face, and so maybe you can come a little bit closer. But yeah, that's a little better. Okay. Great. Now tell me, Charles, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Nigeria.
Excellent.
West Africa.
And so, you know, a lot of our youth come from all over the country, all over the world in some cases. And they think that you have to, you know, be born in this country in order to get into the cyber career field. Can you, you know, first start off by sharing us who Charles Orby is, and what was your story? And let's just shine a light on you for.
Oh wow! How much time do you have? Well, how much time do we have?
we don't have have much time. But just give me a quick rundown of the story of who Charles Orby is.
Understand. Yeah, I came here to go to college many years ago. Over 3 decades now. I went to college in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I went to Oklahoma State University and studied engineering there, studied electrical engineering to be exact. And after graduating, I moved to Silicon Valley, California. Worked in I've been very privileged and fortunate to work with some of the best in the tech industry. I'm talking about the likes of Sun Microsystems. I'm talking about the likes of Bay Networks, if anybody remembers. So I think once I mentioned Bay Networks, obviously that gives you an idea of where I have come from. And of course, the one major tech company that has survived all of the downtimes, the downturns, and the midturns, and the high turns. The big giant of them all, Cisco Systems. And throughout the years, again, as I mentioned, I've been very fortunate to work in these pioneers. Whereas Sun brought what was formerly known as the dot in the .com, because if you are going into the internet, into the wide, into the www, the dot takes you to a server somewhere, and Sun Microsystems made that very popular. After the IBMs and the HPs and the DECs, and a lot of some of you may not remember DEC. Then of course Cisco just perfected the art of networking, and has been the giant of networking ever since. It doesn't really matter whether you are doing AWS, you are doing whatever, Facebook or doing or social networking. If you recall, there was a time where the commercial was 80% of the of the net of the content that goes through the internet goes through Cisco systems, and so Cisco was known as a plumber, Plumber, the plumbing company that was the backbone of internet. And yeah, I've been very fortunate to work with these companies. So moved to Silicon Valley, worked with all these different companies, and was there when Java started, when Cisco, when Sun Microsystems introduced Java programming, and obviously, uh, as a test engineer, we did some of the most challenging, interesting configurations that you would ever see using some sandboxes. And obviously, Cisco does what Sun was doing in platforms, in software. So I've been very fortunate and lucky, if you will, and given my background, you can see that you don't necessarily have to be born in a particular place. If you have the desire and the will and the determination, you can make it. And in fact, I think that's the beauty of America.
And as we think about your work in the technology circle, in the field of cybersecurity and other aspects now in training, can you tell us a little bit about what you've seen on how technology can solve problems? As you know, our young boys are set to compete for about $1,500 starting tomorrow in our 3-day hackathon during the Youth Cyber Conference that's been organized with STEM for Us and Kappa Alpha Psi. How do you think the boys, or let me just start first. How do you think technology can solve the problem of violence in the neighborhoods yourself?
Wow. Well, I think that obviously, unless somebody lives under a rock, they will not. Then they don't know that this is a social media age. And being social media age, it means that most people do a lot of what they do today using technology, which means they're either on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're on TikTok, they are on YouTube. They are so all of these are all they're on the website on a website, surfing the web, trying to find out information. Obviously, Google has become synonymous with dictionary. If you're searching for any information today, all you have to do is get on www.google.com, and then you can look for anything, literally anything. And so for the young people, obviously, many of them do a lot of texting, and many of them, some of them at that age, at least they have access to some of these social engineering sites. Of course, whereas in the past, excuse me, we use activities like basketball, baseball, and they like to get them off the streets. Today, they can play games with their friends from the comfort of their homes. And obviously, depending on their skill level, they may decide, when I grow up, I really don't just want to play games or use the social network to play games, but I want to see how I can become one who's actually developing those games. Because many of the young people today, they know there are some 21-year-old billionaires because they developed a particular app, and that app got bought by a company like Apple or by Amazon, and then that young person has now become very rich. So essentially speaking, you don't necessarily have to be a hip hop artist. You don't have to be a football or basketball star, but you can be a technology star. And so I think that the event that STEM for Us is planning for this weekend, I think is going to be a big exposure for these young people to see what they can become outside of the other things.
I was just saying, I really like that analogy about tech stars, because you're absolutely right. And in fact, as you may know, there are some people who are starting off recruited by NFL football players who start off making only like $100,000. And in fact, there are young boys and girls across the country who have decided that they want to go into cybersecurity. For example, they take a 2-month course on the weekend, and then not even in having graduated from high school, but they're starting to make the same amount of money that you would make as a professional football player.
Yes.
I mean,
that's
again,
right.
not one that's basically traded at the number 1 or 2 seed, but definitely. I think that the average football player, salary is definitely in the low, 6 figures, and this is the same amount of money that is being made by, people in the technology space, even by young people, as you said, 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yes.
But let's talk a little bit, if you can, about what are some of the ideas that you would recommend that the coaches and the boys think about as they try to get ready for the hackathon that's set to take place starting tomorrow. I mean, what are some ways that mobile phones can be used to actually stop people from shooting each other or stabbing each other or otherwise harming each other in our neighborhood?
That's a great question, Talib. I think that, for example, we talk about gaming for example. So all these kids they are doing a joint game activity online. Number one, that takes them away from hanging out on the street corner because they are doing all these gaming things within at least within the comfort of their homes, which is very safe for most of them. Now, if you are sitting in your home or you're living in your room, actually, you could be laying on your bed and be playing a game with your friend, your classmate who lives in another city, or even if they live in the same general area. At least now that takes you out of the street, where you are no longer, at least for the most part, you are not exposed to that challenge or danger of getting in trouble, either with the law or with some other guys or hanging out at the mall. I mean, I've been to some of these malls and I see a lot of these kids. Some of them may be sitting in an open area at the mall, but they are not even talking to each other. They are hooked on the phone and they are playing games with their friends. So now, in the context of what will be happening over the weekend, for example, obviously the kids will learn a skill that they can develop over time, and perhaps even if not all of them are going to move forward, expanding on the skill they have learned or they will learn over the weekend, at least they will not be left out when people are talking about what is going on today in the technology world. One of the things I took out from my early days in tech at Cisco was that technology was going to change the way people learn, the way people speak with each other, the way people buy stuff online, and even the way people were going to do travel. And that is right here with us now. I mean, that was a big saving grace for everybody during the pandemic. You did not have to leave your home to do what you needed to do technology-wise. And so I think these young people, again, not all of them are going to become technology geniuses in time. Some of them may still go into playing football or baseball. In fact, I want one quick example here. People like KD, Kevin Durant, people like LeBron, excuse me, all these guys play a lot of computer games, even when they are taking a break from playing their regular professional sport. So you find that whatever you learn over this weekend, it's not going to be a wasted time, because you will leave knowing that you can reflect back on your time with your friends and guys, friends from other places, and you can leverage the knowledge.
In fact, it's funny you mentioned that, because you pretty much talk about almost the theme from the hit movie Space Jam 2. whereas you might, I don't know, did you see that movie?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the trailer, but not the movie yet.
I think I'm sure your sons probably know about it. The whole idea was LeBron James's son was really into computer gaming, and not just into playing the games, but also designing the games. And LeBron wanted him to basically focus on playing basketball. And so that's the whole storyline. And in the end, LeBron gained the respect for his son's ability to become a star, off the court in the court of technology,
Yes,
and so
yes.
that is definitely a correct understanding in terms of the opportunities. And in fact, as you said, our young people are tuned in to social media. And the question that I always have is whether or not social media is actually in some ways contributing to what is happening in terms of the violence. Are people, are their sensibilities being somehow dampened, or are they actually being, almost subliminally motivated to engage in violence as a way of trying to get, kind of popularity in social media? Or maybe it's because of the kind of the material goods that they see on other people, on TikTok and other things, and they want those things, and so that type of effort to get the money fast is what leads them to engaging in violence. What do you think about that?
Hmm. Well, another great question. Well, what I say about that is that's almost in the same line as hey, movies are responsible for the violence in the community, in the society. Well, the reality is, well, there are good movies and there are bad movies. There are violent movies and there are movies that are just like regular drama. Similarly, there are a lot of games that are benign. They are not violent. There are some games that are used for educating kids. There are some games just for social interaction, teaching them skills that they can use in their regular daily lives. And of course, there might be some of those games that uh, uh, up there, but then again, those games are not targeted towards young people, and so with the cooperation of the various groups, there are games that can only be played by younger people, and there are games that can be played by adults. So I personally do, my personal opinion, I don't subscribe to the fact that games, social media is responsible for uh, for the violence in the community. The ethos or the plan behind social media is to make life simple and easy for people to interact. Now, how we use it is a different ball game, and who's responsible for creating that environment? It's not social media by itself, but absolutely the people that create some of these. I mean, most of them are adults actually, and so obviously, before the young people play any particular game, I mean, there are restrictions on. For example, in my household, my boys don't download any program without my permission. So that way I keep an eye on them to make sure that whatever program they download, I'm aware of it. And so I think that if parents can put those type of restrictions in place, at least just watching over their kids, I would imagine that for a lot of kids, they can avoid this stigma that social media is responsible for their bad behavior. I don't subscribe to that.
Well, again, I think, as a person who understands the history of mankind, I realize, if there's a culprit, the culprit is Satan. You know what I mean? Personally, this is what I subscribe to.
Mhm.
And so I'm not necessarily thinking that social media is the culprit, but it definitely appears that social media has become the conduit. And
Mhm.
and again, I'm not certain about it, but I'm just thinking about the rise of apps, particularly like TikTok, and how much time people spend on TikTok, and at the same time, the rise of the crime that is going on out here in our neighborhoods. And
Mhm.
I don't think, I think it would be a mistake to think that those things are not related, and I believe that the young people who are set to participate in our hackathon, I think are more aware of how, TikTok and other, popular social media apps are being used than we are,
Mhm.
and so I'm hopeful that we can really extract some ideas from them, because they are using these apps in ways, I mean, I'm not even using the app at all, but then they're using the apps, in ways that I'm sure the app developers hadn't even thought about it. Like, I don't know if it's heard of in terms of this TikTok. There was a couple of months ago when Bill Cosby was released from jail. There was this TikTok video that was circulating called the Cosby Walk, and it was basically a walk of him getting out of jail, and it was just basically circulating all over all over the TikTok universe, and even off of TikTok in terms of other platforms, people were copying it, and so, and it definitely shows how, as you said, social media can be used. But there are other things that besides social media. For example, maybe there might be an app that we're going to be having a conversation with some drone pilots. In fact,
Mhm.
some young drone pilots,
Yeah.
and maybe one of the apps. As my daughter and I were talking about the app building competition, she said, "Well, maybe one of the apps could summon a drone whenever you're, in a life-threatening situation for a young person. He could summon, or she could summon the drone, and the drone could come and basically put on sirens,
Yeah.
and scare away, the bad person, or maybe, have a light that shines a big bright light, on them, and then says that you're being recorded, and broadcast live to YouTube,
Yeah.
so maybe that, or broadcast live to the police station, so maybe those are types of things. I mean, do you have any other, creative ideas? I know you're going to be coaching the teams. You don't want to give away all your secret sauce, but what are some of the other thoughts that coaches and boys might take and get ready for the competition?
Yeah, I think one of the I think the kids you probably be you're right. Many of them are aware of some of these negative things that exist out there, but I think many of them are also very aware that today they have this ability, or they have the ability to control uh, the lighting in their rooms, and so they have the concept of Internet of Things, which they hear the terms thrown around quite a bit. But most people today can control their refrigerator from afar, whereas several, maybe about a decade ago, it was when you hear appliance, you wonder what is an appliance. But now, I hope that the kids that come to the event this weekend can live with the satisfaction or with the understanding of knowing that rather than spend a whole lot of time thinking about the negative impact of social media, they can start thinking about what is a smart city. What does that mean to have a smart city, for example? How can we make a city like Durham, North Carolina? How can we make it a smart city? And what is going to be the effect of something like that? So the kids may live with the thought of saying, maybe I need to create an app, for example, that can help my. I'll give you an example. I'll give you. I think there's an app for parking your car these days, for example, where you don't even have to go put money in a meter anymore. All you need to do is remember the space where you parked on, and from the comfort of your cell phone, you can basically say, my car is in zone A, lot slot 3, and I only want 20 minutes. So maybe these kids can live thinking about how can we be the good guys, if you will, versus the bad guys of the society, and versus the bad guys of the community.
Well, that's definitely an exciting idea in terms of, the parking app that you mentioned, and young people coming up with apps that might give their peers the tools to stay out of trouble, and that's
Mhm.
what we're really looking forward to doing. Let me get some, as we get ready to conclude this conversation, get some, kind of parting lessons from you. One, how did you? Maybe you can tell us, how did you get your your first tech job, and what recommendations do you have to young people on how to break into the tech field today?
Yeah, yeah. That's a very interesting question that will require a lot of reflection on my part.
We don't have
I
more
know,
than
I
4
know,
minutes.
I know. I mentioned earlier I left Oklahoma, I went to Silicon Valley, and everywhere I went, even though I studied electrical engineering, it was a case of because you're now out of school, you're not competing with people who have experience. The question becomes, how much experience do you have? So I took a chance and went into technical training. That's what I did, and I thought, hey, I can talk about bits and bytes and all of that, and how to decode 40 hard drives, until I taught my first class, and it was all in house, and people wanted to know, not that you know the bits and bytes, but can you help us solve a problem? So my recommendation to the young kids is for them to know that, again, as I mentioned at the beginning, if you have the drive, you have the desire, you have the passion, and above all, you have the determination. There are going to be challenges, but if you keep at it, you focus on it and say, hey, this is what I want to be. I want to be part of this new generation of developers, this new generation of inventors, this new generation that is providing solution to all the things that ail our community, our society. I think I will just say to the young person, don't worry about it. You're going to find some challenges along the way, but as long as you continue to wake up every day and keep at it, the sky will be the limit for it.
All right, another question. Give us a quick rundown of what your day was like yesterday.
Ooh, now I have to think back. What day was yesterday? Wednesday. Yeah, I woke up, watch my son go up to school. He's becoming a sophomore in high school now, one of them. And obviously, I had to do my own. I had my own commitment. I have my own project commitment that I was working on, and so I did most of that. And
now you see commitment in terms of work. Maybe describe
yes.
the work that you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm involved now with a group of other professionals. We curate courses, technical courses, to enable professionals to enable them do their work so they can sell products, technical products. I won't mention the company or the type of products, but that's the type of things I do today. And of course, in the evening, there's quite a few Zoom meetings. We're trying to address some of community-related problems.
So, all right. Lastly, yeah. So tell us, what advice would you give to Charles at age 17?
I would say he did fine. He did just fine. Except that make sure you have a mentor. Make sure you have an advisor. Because coming from where I came, that was not something we were used to. It was more or less, hey, work hard, work on your own. But I realized that a lot of the guys I was with in college, many of them had group meetings and group activities. So the younger me would say, make sure you learn how to integrate into the broader society. Work with a group of people your age, and again, look for mentors and look after people. Pick up somebody that you want to be like when you grow up, and that can save you a lot of heartburns.
Well, I really appreciate you, Charles, taking your time. I know your schedule is very tight, and you are working on so many different projects. But I'm really excited about the fact that you committed both your time and your money. And I understand your sons are going to be also participating in hackathon teams. I don't know if we're going to have you judging or coaching your own boys, but I guess that would be the easiest thing. So, but you guys will probably have a quick start, or a head start on the rest of the teams. But nevertheless, we're really excited about the opportunities for our young boys to connect with our leaders like yourself tomorrow during the hackathon and the 3-day cyber conference that takes place Again, we dropped the link for registration into the comments, so you can go ahead and register on your boys. If you're a coach, a mentor, like like Charles, and you want to actually spend some time mentoring young boys, sign up. The registration is actually free for mentors, but we're asking all the mentors to sponsor at least one student, so they don't have to pay. So it turns out being about $50. And the commitment is not that many. It's only 3 days, and a hackathon is overnight. But there's only like really 4 or 5 team sessions that you have to absolutely be there for. But we encourage you to be there for the entire time, so you can reference the other programs that the young boys are participating in that will help them. They'll all be basically ideas that will help them to feed into their idea they're going to be presenting at the end. So very grateful, Charles, for you. We appreciate you, and we wish you good afternoon.
Well, thank you, Talib. It's an opportunity. It's a privilege. Anytime one has a chance to talk with our young people, glad to do it. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for this time.
Well, that was Charles Orby with a wonderful conversation about how he is set to motivate a group of young boys tomorrow at the hackathon and the 3-day conference that's being organized with Cap Alpha Psi, Pepco, Odawa Coin, and many other of our leaders. Please don't hesitate to sign up your boys, or if you're a coach, don't hesitate to, or a professional or somebody who's a parent who wants to get involved in mentoring. Don't hesitate to click on the link, register, and there's going to be some trainings taking place this evening for our coaches. So got to definitely sign up in the next couple hours. But this has been a tremendously informative conversation with Charles Orby. We look forward to participating with many of you who will be joining us tomorrow. And we absolutely look forward to coming back with you with more terrific cyber leaders like Charles. If you haven't already done so, please like this channel, subscribe to the channel, like the program, and throw a question in there. And even if we didn't get a chance to answer it or go over it during today's conversation, we can get back to you if you're subscribed and give you the answers that you are looking for. So without any further ado, this is Talib Kareem with STEM for Us. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Cyber Ed Podcast.